Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this Solid Granny Hexagon. It's a really cute and nice hexagon that is made pretty much the same way as when you do a Solid Granny square. I have three parts for you in this video. First, I'm going to show you how to make this basic one. After that, I'm going to show you how we can make one that has multiple colors within it. I was actually not going to do that, but I was making these small ones to show you in this video, and I had 6 different colors, and I wanted to do a 7th color to add into the center. But then I was thinking, well, maybe why not try to make one that has all the colors in them to show you how you can really how you can really play around with this sort of thing. You could of course also make like 3 in one color and 3 in a different color and then make it half of each color. But that will be part number 2. I will show you quickly how we do that. And then in part number 3, I'll show you real quick how we can put them together like this. This is just a very simple joining. It really doesn't add anything to the project, and it's a flat join, and we're going to work on the back side, and it's, well, really easy and really simple. So let's get started on the first part. So for the Solid Granny Hexagon, we're going to start the way we would normally start pretty much any granny style project. So we're going to start with a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 6 because the ring we're going to work in needs to be a little bit bigger because we're going to add 6 clusters in there. So chain 6, go into the first chain and slip stitch, which creates a really nice ring that we can work in like that. And we're going to add 6 clusters of 3 double crochets and a chain 2 between each. So you can start with a chain 3, or you can stack 2 single crochets on top of each other. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to make a single crochet, go in under this left front loop, grab the yarn, come up and yarn over and go through both of them. So this gives me my first double crochet. But again, you can use a chain 3 if you prefer that. Next to that, I'm going to add 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. So this gives us our first cluster. So a cluster is 3 double crochets. I'm going to create a corner, and to do that, I'm going to chain 2. I'm going back into the ring and adding 3 more double crochets, so 1 more cluster. And I'm going to do that all the way around until I have 6 clusters, all divided by a chain 2. So I have my 6 clusters and my corners. I'm going to chain 2 for the last time. 1, 2, and then I'm going to connect to my top stitch over here with a slip stitch. If you have a chain 3 in the beginning, you're going to do a slip stitch in your 3rd chain. And this completes round number 1. You can of course do a color change if you want to. Just fasten off and attach your new yarn, but we're going to continue with this yarn color for this sample. So we're going to stay in this stitch, and we're going to do either a chain 3 or 2 single crochets on top of each other. So I'm going to do that one more time. So just any way you would normally replace your first double crochet. So right here, then we have 2 top chains next to it, and in there we're going to put 1 double crochet in each. So 1, maybe 1, and in the next one. So now we have 3 double crochets on top of the 3 double crochets from the previous round, like that. And now we're going to work in the corner, and we're going to add 1 double crochet into the chain space, so the corner, and we're going to chain 2 and put 1 more double crochet into the corner. Normally when you do a Solid Granny square, you actually add 2 double crochets in the corners, but we're only going to add 1. So this means that we have now increased the number over here. We're going to do one more over here when we get back, but this is the idea. So we now have one in the corner, and we have 3 top stitches, and we're going to work 1 double crochet, 1 in each of the top stitches. So 1, move over to the next top stitch, 1 double crochet, move over to the next one, and 1 double crochet. So we now have 4 double crochets, and we're going to make 1 in the corner, chain 2, 1, 2, and add 1 more into the corner. And this is how we're going to do all the way around. As you can see, we now have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets on top of our 3 double crochets from the last round, and we are extending our corners on top of each other. So go ahead and do that all the way around. I'll show you how we do the last corner over here. So let's make the last corner together. I just finished my double crochet in this top stitch, so I'm going into the corner and doing another double crochet, chaining 2, and adding in another double crochet, and then we should have 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, and then you're just going to find your top chain and slip stitch, or your 3rd chain if you made 3 chains in the beginning. And for the next round, again, start in that same stitch. Now I'm just chaining 3, move over to the next top stitch, and repeat. So work 1 double crochet in all the top stitches. So over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 in this corner and 1 in this corner. So that gives you 7 on the next round, and then chain 2 between all of them. So that is how the basic method is for this Solid Granny Hexagon. Let's jump into the part where we do the color change. So for the color change, I'm going to do 2 colors because I think that's easier for you to see. It is a lot with those 6 color changes. That gives a lot of yarn tails and a lot of yarn that you need to move around. So let's just do 2. So I'm using a green and a orange one, and we're going to start with the orange one. So we're going to start the same way as we did before. We're going to make a slip knot, insert the hook, and chain 6. And then we're going to work the same way as we did before, 5 and 6. But because we're doing half of the hexagon in another color, we're only going to do 3 sides, and then we're going to start on our color change. So make the first half of the hexagon, and then I'll show you how we do the color change. So now I have 3 clusters, and I'm going to need to chain 2 to create a corner. But before I do that, I bring in my new color. So let's use this green one, and I'm going to put it like this. So I have a little loop here. I'm going to put that around my hook like that, and then I'm going to tighten up on the orange and pull the green one through that loop, pull down on the orange again like that, pull down a little bit on the green. It's a little tricky, but once you have get the hang of it, it's not that difficult. I'm going to chain 1. So we now have 2 chains, because the one where we did the color change and the green one. And then we're just going down into the circle and creating the other half of this hexagon with the green color. And that is fairly straightforward. And I am going to do that, and then I'll show you how we end this round and how we get started on the next one. So now I have 3 clusters of the green one and 3 of the orange one. A couple of things to be aware of. Over here, we still have the orange yarn attached. So that is just sitting up here, waiting for us to use it again later. And this orange tail, sorry, not the orange tail, the green tail, everything is a little loose up here. So you could go ahead right away and tighten that up a little bit, and maybe even tie a knot with the green yarn tail, if you're not feeling comfortable that everything is sitting a little loose up here. But I'm okay with that for now. So we're going to end this round. We're going to chain 2 for our last corner, and then we're going to find our top stitch over here. So it's this one up here, and we're going to slip stitch. And to continue with the same colors on top of each other, we're going to turn our work, because then we will meet our yarn colors again over here. So turn your work. We're going to, I will slip stitch once to get a little to the left of this, because the first thing I want to do is create a double crochet in the chain space. But if I do it over here, I won't have room for an orange one when I get back, and I want that. So I will do one slip stitch to move a little over to the left, and then I would just start with a double crochet. You can do a chain 3, and now remember to work 1 in the corners and 1 in each of the top stitches. So I'm going to do that, and I'll meet you over here and show you how we do the color change again. So now I'm almost ready for the color change again. So I have my 4 double crochets. So I'm going into the chain space and adding in my last double crochet in the green color. Pulling up a little bit, and I'm taking my green color and putting it to the back, bringing in my orange one. And the thing now is that we have our orange color on the front of the project. So we're going to try to see how we can kind of hide that, because that would look a little strange. But we're going to start by changing over. So chain 1 and chain 1 more. So that gives us our new color, corner. Then we're going to add a double crochet into the corner down here. So to do that, we're going to go from front to back on this standing strain of yarn, grabbing the yarn, coming up. Now we have 2 loops on the hook, and then we go down to the corner, bring up our yarn, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. So that gives us a really nice double crochet, but you can't see that strain of yarn. So that is how we do that. And again, then you're just going to continue with your orange color. You now have 1 in the chain space, so you'll have 3 top stitches over here to work in, and just continue. And I'll meet you over here and we can discuss how to end this project. So I'm almost done with the round. I just did the last corner, and I'm working over my top stitches. So this is the first one, the second one, and then in the third one we do have this green yarn also sitting over here, but we can easily fit the orange one in, and we're also going to do a double crochet around that. Just pull it a little to the side, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going up here in the top stitch and slip stitch. And if you want to continue, you can of course just do that. Just turn over your work and work the other way. And also fasten off and make a bunch of these and put them together. It is really up to you. The fun part about these one is you can make them as big or as small as you want. One important thing to mention though is it's very tempting to weave in all your ends as you go, because you can have quite a lot of ends. Just be aware which one of the sides that will end up being your right side, because you are going to change over for turn it over for each round. So just because you think this is your back for now, it might actually end up being your right side, depending on how many rounds you make. So just be aware of that. But let's try to see how we can put these together. So putting your Solid Granny Hexagons together is really easy. You can use the same method you would normally use for a Solid Granny Square or really any kind of project where you join your things. The only thing is we want, at least I want, a flat joining and one that doesn't really mess up the pattern, because I mean, I actually do want this kind of effect. That's why I did it. So I don't want a lot of things in between to mess them up, and that will also ruin the stitch count if we did something like that. So for this kind of project, I'm doing something really, really easy. Let's try to join this. Well, it's actually kind of gray to this pink one. I don't know if these colors are too light. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to just use a yarn needle, and I'm going to take a strand of yarn, like, I don't know, maybe 3 times as long as the area you're joining. Let's try that. I'd rather have a little too much than not enough. So I'm just going to put in my yarn up here, and we're working on the back side of the project because I think that looks the nicest. So over here I used a pink strand of yarn to do this, and then I used a green one to do this, and a pink one to do this one down here. You can decide what kind of color you want. We could have done a pink one as well here when we're joining. This one doesn't really matter. Just make sure you kind of plan ahead what you want to do so you put them together in the right places. But we're going to turn our work over and work down up here. So, and also the gray one. So this is our back side. So we're going to join in the corner, along the side, in this corner, and along this side. So I'm just going to pick up this hexagon, and I'm going to make sure that my yarn is attached in the corner. I'm going to do it with a knot, just because I want to make sure that it is secure. So I am, of course, tying the knot on the back, like that. And you can do it on both sides if you want to. So attach with a knot on this, in this corner as well. I'm going to find my 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my 5 top stitches is up here. I just need to make sure I am on the right side. Yeah, like that. So 5 top stitches over here, and I have 5 over here. And we're going to work in the back, well, it's not the back loops, the loops that are closest to each other. So when you have your V-stitch here, you have one here, we're going to use these 2 that are closest to the middle. So those 2. I hope that makes sense. So we're going into the first one, not using the entire stitch, but just the one that is closest to the center. And the same goes for this one over here, only that front loop, or the loop that is closest to the center. I'm just going to go in and pull the yarn through, like that. I'm going into the next one, so this one right next to it, and I'm finding the opposite one over here, like that. And I am just sewing that in. Same one more time, those 2. So the stitches closest to each other, or the top of the stitches that are closest to each other. You can pull a little bit, but if you pull it too tight, everything will look a little weird. So just make it, just go with the flow. And one more time. And then we have one last here. So that was 5 times, and we know we have 5 top stitches, so that's great. Like that. And you can always open up and see what it looks like. So this actually looks really nice. You can't really tell. And then in the corner, you're just going to, I'm just going to use the stitches in the corner. Just make it as discreet as possible, unless you want it to stand out, but I'm just trying to make it a little discreet. And I kind of want to catch the corner over here, so the pink corner. So I'm going in one more time over here, and I'll go in over here. And then I'll put the gray and the pink ones together. So again, just opening up a little bit, seeing, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's this one, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going into this one and into this one. Again, using the 2 loops that are closest to each other. Like that. And one more time. So into the next one. And over to the opposite side. This one, and over here. And now we're almost done. And of course, if you have some other joining techniques that you love, you can of course use them. I have other techniques I use as well, but this one is just the most simple and easiest one to do. So let's open up and see. So now we have this nicely attached over here as well. That was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.